Right. Actually, that might be a good exercise. Actually, I've already told you. But I mean, how would you build the roads? You know, in my map or in sapling? You know, if you were to, if I were to give you the challenge of designing a road network, how would you design it? And don't just make things up. Oh, creeper, hello. And don't just make things up. I mean, I told you about the urban planning page on Wikipedia. You can always search the internet for more information on city planning and things like that. Just do a bit of background research on what it means to design cities. Like, how would you design the road network here? See, one of the things that newbies, and I don't mean that in terms of Minecraft newbie, but urban planning newbies, like, when you tell them, okay, you should build a road, what they do is they build a road between two buildings, like from the entrance of one building straight to the entrance of the other building. Now, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with doing that? Well, what's wrong with that is that then the road only ever joins those two buildings. I mean, look at the road in front of your own house. Does it go straight into your front door? Well, sometimes it might. Depends on where you live. In most cases, the road will not end at your front door. The road will go past your front door. And your front, your front door, your driveway will face the road. And then the street will be full of other houses that also face the road. See, that way the road joins all the houses, not just two houses. It's not just the road from the front of your house to the front of the house opposite, and that's the road. No, the road joins hundreds, and the road network joins thousands, hundreds of thousands of different buildings. So a newbie will just have the road go straight to their front door and stop, which is silly if you're considering the whole city. If you're only considering your own build, then it makes sense. Like, oh, it's my build, it is my road, it serves my building. So that's your private road, and driveways do that, right? A driveway is like your private pathway. It's not really a road, but it's a 61, sorry. But it's a pathway that belongs to you and you alone, and so it would go from your front door or your garage to the road, and that's it. And it only ever joins those two things. But a road network in a city can't do that because there's more than two things in a city, right? What else can we say? There's also hierarchies of roads as well. If you remember, I was talking about, I was reading the Wikipedia article about the Roman ideal plan for a city, how they have a grid of streets, but the central street is wider than the rest. And where they cross together in the middle of the city, it forms the town square, basically, or the city square in the middle of the city. So, no, that works. Never mind. So the roads have hierarchies as well. In the real world, it's the same thing. I mean, if you live you might live on a suburban street, a small street, and then there may be wider roads, and then there may be highways or motorways, or depending where in the world you live, what you call them. Interstate, if you're in the States. So there's different sizes of roads, and they function slightly differently. And you travel at different speeds, and you connect to different things. And so roads are, and they're not simple things. And the hierarchies, they mostly serve functional purposes. Did I put torches down in the other one? I think I did. Anyway, I can double check when I finish all of them. So the roads are different sizes like that because they serve different functions, right? And interstate, as the name suggests, joins different states together. Or it travels between different states. And so they're fast, or you travel along them quickly because you're traveling long distances. and then you come off these highways onto smaller roads when you're traveling shorter distances, or you're going to a more specific location. Then you travel more slowly because you don't need to travel long distances, right? And these are all functional things, and road engineers obviously have the job, designing roads and things. It's actually a common complaint of architects that planners and road engineers have far too much power in urban planning, especially road engineers, because road engineers are generally not trained in urban planning. They're trained to engineer roads. They basically just design the technical aspects of the technical aspects of the road. But because roads are so important in defining cities, they end up making a lot of decisions about how the city will be, how it will look, how it will function, who can go where, what buildings can be placed where. Like, all these things are determined by the placement of the roads. And the road engineers are often... Wait a minute, I don't need to... Is this right? Road engineers are often not trained in, for example, the social and the economic and the cultural aspects of the city, right? I mean, cities aren't just roads, although I keep saying the roads are important. But they're not just technical things about roads. As I said in the very beginning, roads allow people to travel, roads allow goods and materials to be transported from one part of the city to another, or between cities, or between continents even. And so these kind of economic and cultural concerns and social concerns, I mean, who can live where, who can build where, what kind of buildings can be built where, these have serious social and cultural consequences. I mean, you might not have thought about it, but if you live in a high density area versus a low density area, if you live on top of a hill as opposed to at the bottom of a valley, these things, that might have like health consequences. It may have, I don't know, it could be a lot of things. So, road engineers, so kind of road engineers, they design to engineer roads, or they're trained to engineer roads, sorry. They're not trained to... I really should do that. They're trained to engineer roads. They're not trained to design the city. And the city is a complicated thing. Like, there's a lot more to it than just roads. And so when the road network is left entirely to traffic engineers and road engineers, then architects and even planners rightly complain about that, because the city is not being designed properly, because you don't have the right people with the right skills doing the right jobs, or rather that there's a person missing, like there's a certain job that's not being done when that happens. And of course, most people who aren't involved, again, if you're not an architect and you're not a planner, then, or you're not even a road engineer, then you wouldn't think about these things. And that's not your fault. That's fairly normal for people to do that. But Minecraft is actually serious business, believe it or not. Or I make it seem like serious business, right? But in multiplayer, when you're playing with other people, it kind of is serious business. Because even in Minecraft, even without a lot of the more practical things like transportation and electricity and streetlights, well, streetlights actually, because you want to exclude mobs from your roads, so you don't want to have creepers all over the roads. Anyway, so some of the more serious business things aren't relevant in Minecraft, because Minecraft is a game. But nevertheless, you're playing with other people who also want to build things. And given how roads impact on what can be built where, and who is encouraged to build where, these sorts of things really should be negotiated amongst the entire server. I mean, a Minecraft server is like a small world, basically. You have people, you have resources, you're building stuff. Oops, sorry, I blew into the mic. It's not unlike a small world or a small country, you know? And I know some people believe in small government or no government or libertarianism. I don't really believe that libertarianism can work, just because, you know, whenever you have people, whenever you have multiple people in the same place, you need some sort of rules. You need to have some sort of agreement on what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, how you do things. I mean, whenever you have two people or more than one person working on the same thing, you can't have no rules. I mean, some people might like the idea of they having no rules, but you always have some sort of agreements between people, and maybe you don't call them rules, maybe you call them an agreement or a custom or a habit or a culture or whatever you want to call it. But the people will agree to do certain things or do things in certain ways. How did I get to this? What was I saying? Anyway, so government, yeah, that's right. And so, you know, you can either do it completely ad hoc, you can do it just, I don't know, you can just wing it and hope it works, or you can actually try to negotiate some sort of agreement, try to actually articulate what these rules are, or articulate what these customs or methods or you know, or agreements are. I mean, you agree, like in Minecraft, usually people agree not to grief each other, right? They agree not to destroy each other's builds. I mean, that's kind of a rule, even if you don't have a rule specifically stating that. I mean, it's like a gentleman's agreement, even if it's not written down. Everybody understands that you shouldn't just destroy other people's stuff, unless it's one of those PvP or, you know, war servers, in which case the rule is you are allowed to do it. In fact, you are encouraged to do it, right? So even if it's not the case, then the rule is the opposite. I mean, if you're on a PvP server, then the rule is you're allowed to kill people and you're allowed to destroy other people's things. So no matter which one it is, there's a set of ideas for each server that the people on the server kind of have to agree to and have to abide by. I mean, if you're on a PvP server, you can't or if you're on a completely war, you know, like a war server, you can't complain about people griefing, because it's not a free build server. The whole point is to destroy each other's fortresses and then kill each other. So there's always rules, and so the idea is it's better if you are aware of that and consciously negotiate these agreements rather than just let them happen and see what happens. So getting back to the point, so the planning of a Minecraft server will happen regardless of you being conscious of it or not, because people will inevitably build things. On a free build server, people will build things. I mean, that sounds silly to just say it like that, but that's the truth, right? People will build things, and what happens when they build things? Eventually you'll have some sort of city or some sort of world where there are multiple buildings. I mean, what do you call that if it's not a city? If it's not, maybe the buildings are further apart or whatever, but if you just let it happen without negotiating how it should happen, then you have absolutely no control over whether it's going to be good or bad. You have no idea how it's going to turn out. And maybe you want to do that. Maybe you're running some sort of experiment to see what happens. But I think in most cases, you get a better outcome if you have some sort of idea what you want to do at the start, instead of just going for it without any plans. And it just seems strange because it's Minecraft. Most people are like, what, 12, 13, 11? Some people are slightly older. I'm slightly older. But you're asking a bunch of kids to come together to form a government, to plan a city. Maybe it sounds a little strange, but I think most people can manage that. I mean, maybe they can't manage it very well, but the basic idea is not that difficult. It's difficult to do it well, of course. It's difficult to get everything right, but the point isn't to get it completely right. The point is at least you try and you learn. You have a go at it and see how that helps your server develop. Anyway, I haven't bothered. Well, I've been thinking about it. I haven't tried to form a government in a sapling yet. Mostly because it's not my server. And most people, they're not really aware of things like this, and so you ask people to give ideas, or you try to discuss ideas with people, they're not